So Trump's came out and said that it was mission accomplished, that they obliterated 3 nuclear sites in Iran, when we all know that the Iranians would have moved anything important out of those sites. They said that they had a bombing campaign and they destroyed these sites. Like I said, the materials would have been moved. Common sense would dictate that. And we don't know exactly the extent of the damage that was done. One of these facilities was buried underneath a mountain. And, there's been talk that it would require a nuclear weapon to do damage to such a site. The Iranians are saying that there's no significant damage done to any of these sites. So it may be that this is part of Trump's plan. He was trying to appease the Israeli lobby, by giving them a bit of red meat, so to speak, to chew on, where at the same time, he was hitting something that wasn't significant to say, okay, here's my pound of flesh. We're going to go home now. He wants to call for peace. It's absolutely absurd. What the United States just did was an act of war against Iran that was, to be perfectly blunt, not justified. Now, you can make the argument that Iran, yes, they're a bit crazy. Yes, the leadership is, that they're immoral. You can even apply the term evil to them. They've done a lot of things throughout the Middle East, and a lot of people around the world are not big fans of the Iranian regime. But to carry out something like that requires a lot more commitment than apparently Trump is willing to apply. So we currently still have a war between Israel and Iran. Iran continues to hit Israel with their missiles. Israel is continuously striking Iran from Iraq, and this is really bad. This is very bad. There's a lot of ways that Iran can retaliate. They can close the Straits of Hormuz, for example. You're talking about the end of the global order, the global economic order in such a scenario. I mentioned before about supply chain steps in East Asia. Well, they would come to a stop in a case like that because they get their oil from the Persian Gulf. There's service members, American servicemen that are in the region, in the Middle East, that Iran could easily target. Their lives are in danger right now. But, Trump, Trump and Netanyahu, this was all political theater. Really is what this is, if you think about it in the final equation. This is political theater. And you have the very existence of a prosperous, semi-free country that is of Israel at serious risk and serious danger. Number one, being geopolitically isolated, diplomatically isolated, which is happening right now in real time. The entire Muslim world, when relations were getting better for a time, obviously the Muslim world didn't recognize Israel, but over time they began to recognize Israel. They started to normalize relations with Israel. That reversed decades of progress, between what's going on in Gaza and what just happened with their sneak attack against Iran. Nobody trusts Trump at this point. Not even the MAGA base. What a lot of Americans see, and there's a lot of people who support Israel. I, on principle, support Israel, but I don't support what they're doing right now, especially the way they're doing it. But with that said, there's a very large segment of the Trump base that is really getting lukewarm to him right now. They really have lost respect. They see that this is political theater. They see that Trump is on a leash with Netanyahu. Apparently, I mean, he is beholden to the Israeli lobby. This is not good. This is going to turn out really bad. To the whole world, the United States has lost a lot of credibility. Now, there are people that are pro-Israel that makes the argument that Iran needed to be hit a long time ago, that we can't allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and they do make a case within that context. They do make a valid case. Okay, they're not seeing everything else around it though. This is going to be really bad. And not to mention, there are much bigger problems. Yes, Iran having a nuclear program, having nuclear weapons. I mean, in the hands of these, theocratic nutcases. Yeah, that's a problem. But we have much bigger problems to worry about. The 30 million illegal aliens in this country is a far, far bigger threat to the United States than Iran is. So, yes, there's political theater. Some people will buy it. The smart people in this country, which is the cognitive leadership on the grassroots level, we're the ones that we started to take over the Republican Party via Ron Paul back in 2007. Okay, I was one of those people. People like me are going to look at this and are going to distance myself from Trump right now. For one, I can't trust him, and Trump has done a lot of good things. I'm not going to publicly make a complete break from him, but I have to say I've lost a little bit of respect for him. To be beholden to a foreign country like this, to put a foreign country above the United States, the one you're supposed to represent, something's not right there.